Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Puddles, and it is time for another video about a mistake that I have made. I thought I would continue this series with another story about one of my players and a character they had. His name was Grognak, and he was a barbarian, and he was beastly. He was so strong that he broke my game a little bit. Not to the point where it was really that bad, but I could see the potential for it being bad in other games, and I learned some things from it. So let's tell the story. So first campaign, first group of players, first time playing Dungeons and Dragons. One of the players was Grognak. He was a barbarian. We rolled for stats at the start of the game, so he had a decent amount of strength and like an average amount of constitution, which are the two stats that he really wanted and that he needs. So he was the tank of the group, and being a barbarian, he did that job very well. The mistakes that I made were giving him items that made him even stronger and letting him use homebrew items that aren't in the DMG. So, he was already probably one of the strongest characters in the game. He was a Goliath, so he had his resistance, his stone skin thing where he mitigates damage, which is what their class do. And barbarians are supposed to be these big hulking giant monsters that just unleash the punishment whilst also taking it themselves. So that's fine. That's what he was doing. But so first he wanted to have a Buster Sword, a la Final Fantasy VII Cloud giant sword as big as a person. There are different rules for that on websites. It's not a part of the monster manual or anything like that. But basically the stats for this weapon is if you have 20 strength, you can wield it. If you don't have 20 strength, you have disadvantage on attacks with it. And it's like a greatsword. Except it does 3d6 damage. So I thought I think he had 19 strength. He rolled really well on his on one stat, which was his strength. So I was like, well, he's not going to be able to use that weapon really. So I said, sure, why not? You can use that item, and 3d6 every round. What does that mean? You can kill a creature every now and then. But if you include rage bonus and strength bonus, there's a potential for 12, 18. If he's got plus 5, it's like the potential of 27, 25 damage every swing, which is pretty crazy. He also asked if he could use shield on his shoulder, like a shoulder shield, so he could hold this weapon in two hands. Again, this isn't in any of the books. This is homebrew thing that he showed me on a website, and I thought, well, that's fine. I don't see why not. I made it very expensive, so it was harder for him to attain. But it worked just like a shield, but he could now wield a two-handed weapon, which is not what shields are about. It was, in hindsight, it wasn't a very good decision on my part, but I didn't see why that would potentially cause any problems in combat, things like that. So he's got this really, really crazy weapon and this shield that makes him much more effective in combat. And I think he had 16 or 17 constitution as well. So he's not wearing armor, so he's got the dex, whatever that was, the con, which is giving him plus 3 to his AC. So with his shoulder shield, he probably had 17 AC. Then I decided that I was going to run a tower of a wizard who had magical items in his sanctum, and I chose the items instead of rolling for it, and one of the items I gave was a belt of dwarven kind, which gives you constitution, and he took that. And so now this character who's got 17 constitution has 19 constitution, and 19 strength. So he's this giant barbarian who does a lot of damage. He tanky as all hell because he is a Goliath, and he also has +4 to his constitution. And he also has his shield, which by all accounts he shouldn't be able to use. Then level 4 comes around. And what does he do? He puts 1 point into strength and 1 point into constitution. So now he has maxed out his strength and his constitution at level 4. He has a weapon which he is proficient with and does not give him disadvantage. That does 3d6 every swing. He has +5 health every single level, +5 to his AC, plus another 2 AC from the shield. So he's pretty beastly. He's a level 4 character that's stronger than a lot of level 8 characters, you know? And these are all things that I could have said, no, you can't use that weapon. No, you can't use that shield. No, I'm not going to give you an item that already increases your crazy powerful character. Now, this basically meant a few combats that I prepared were just a walk in the park for the group. His character was far stronger than anybody else's character. Not that really caused problems in our group. People didn't really care that his character was the strongest. They liked him, that he could just go in there and soak a lot of damage, and I, as a DM, could make more challenging encounters. So that was, everything was okay, but I could see in other groups how people could potentially get jealous of other people's characters, and there could be issues with the group. None of that really happened. It was more realizing how strong this character was at level 4 after the fact, and knowing that as a new DM I shouldn't have been allowing these homebrew things without knowing what they meant. I didn't realize that AC was super important. I didn't know that 3d6 as a weapon is not really a good idea. And then at level 5 he got 2 attacks, so that's 2 swings every turn with his +5 strength modifier to like top it all off. So he was a pretty strong character, and it didn't really cause any problems in my games. And I didn't take any of those things away, and we changed the game to a West Marches style. So it was, it didn't really complicate the game or make things bad, but I would never allow any of those things in one of my games again. His character was way too strong for his level. I'm of the opinion these days that rolling for stats is not the way to do it. I like point buying or using the array, because you can also have just overpowered characters that are in the same party as really weak characters, and the players, they want to feel special. They want to feel like a snowflake. They don't want their character to be a weak little nobody that doesn't help the party while they're watching their godly friends destroy everything. So at least if you use the array or the point buy, everyone has the same starting stats. So I still like rolling as well, but I'm at the mind where using the array makes it more fair. And basically, this story is about fairness. This was me not realizing that there are things in the book for a reason, and until you have a little bit more knowledge and know-how, you should probably just say no to the things that your players are asking you in terms of homebrew. And yeah, and until you have it figured out what it is actually doing, just say no. And it's okay to say no. And I don't think my player would have cared if I had said no. But at the time, he was like, "Can I have a Buster Sword?" I was like, "Yeah, that's cool. Of course you can. That's amazing." But it sort of broke the game a little bit. But yeah, that's a mistake I've made. And my second story of a player that was, whilst this one wasn't nearly as bad as the initial one, it's really important to really look into what the players are trying to introduce to the game and whether it is going to fit and whether it's balanced. 2, really think about the items you give your players, because you can make some beastly monsters that are just going to destroy any CR ranking battles that you can even try. I was basically giving them CR deadly encounters of the level above them, and they were just walking through them without any issue whatsoever. So, yeah, it's just think about these things, I suppose, is what I've learned from it, is it's okay to say no. Really, and if you're unsure, because when the player came to me, I was like, well, that seems pretty strong, but I didn't know exactly how strong. So I should have just said no. And his character would have still been a badass. He would have been just as efficient and effective as he was, but you know, you don't need a level 5 character that's got 80 hit points and 19 AC and does 3d6 damage to be efficient and effective, you know? But yeah. So that's the story of Grognak. He was a beast, and he will live on in legend. He's still around for those interested. But yeah, so this is my second mistake video that I've made. I hope you enjoy. There will be many more of these to come.